All right, we're here. Let's do this.
Boys.
Podcasting with the podcasters.
Name drop.
But I got to say, this is pretty awesome to be able to do this with you guys, thinking that we all kind of came up together.
Yeah.
2000?
You know what, Brian? I say that every day.
When you see them?
So awesome to be doing
Very
with
complimentary.
these guys. Like it's...
No, but there's so much truth to that, because when I first met you, you guys were all wide-eyed, and you were on this successful reality show called Making the Band. It wasn't on MTV, it was WB, right?
ABC.
ABC. Even bigger. Even bigger.
Okay, WB.
WB. Easy. This isn't the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
But I think it repeated. I think it repeated on like
No,
I'm
then,
just glad-
then we did 2 seasons on ABC,
I'm glad he
and
did
then
his
we moved
research
to
before.
MTV. Yeah.
You're great at
MTV.
this.
Okay.
So the 3rd season was on MTV.
Okay,
yes.
so you guys were on that. You didn't know each other prior to that, right? You had y'all were meeting for the very first time.
Did you even watch the show?
I watched the show. Dude, how many years ago that was? I remember. It was
23.
about- Yeah, 23 years.
I don't
23
know
years
what show
ago.
you guys were on. But hey, do you guys... The real weird question is, knowing that everybody's like, did you guys know each other? Did you guys ever have any coincidences where you were like, wait a second, there was something that I did. Was there any time that any of you guys could have ever crossed paths before that?
No, dude, we were country apart.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't even in the same state. Trevor and I were the closest, being L.A. and San Diego. But, there's
know
a
how
lot
big
of people.
California is.
There's a lot of people.
Was there
in Southern
hating
California.
when you guys were all there, because you guys were all vying for that one position with Lou Pearlman? Was there hating going on?
There definitely was not hate.
We'll get to that in a second.
Like what I always like to say is our band was formed in competition.
Yeah.
So we were in competition with each other. We weren't like hating on each other, because
No.
we were building each other's spirits up, trying to get each other to be.
This is
all
like
be-
We knew
be
who
the
our
best they
favorites
could.
were within ourselves, right? Like,
Right.
if I'm going to be in a band, I want to be in a band with that guy, or I hope he makes it, and I hope, we were kind of the support system.
So when we
How weird was it, though, knowing that it's not only a competition and knowing you were going to be together and knowing you're like, all right, it's 6. Come on, dude. I'm wishing you luck. I'm wishing you luck. Dan, I'm wishing you luck. I'm wishing you luck. Was there any moments like that where there were guys like a Kaika or, guys that you were like, you know what?
We hope
Between
he
me
doesn't
and
make
you.
it.
We had a rough go with Ikaika in the beginning, because it was a competition type of thing, and he was like, had his whole like mental breakdown with being in Hawaii, wanting to be home, and like he was missing time with us. So there was a moment, there was like a good week where the rest of us were like, yo, he's not putting in the time, like he's going home and chilling with his family. We want to be with our family too. So we kind of, that created like a little bit of animosity towards him.
Trevor just
regard.
quotes Making the Band so easily. That was actually a quote.
good.
from Making the Band.
Wait,
That was
so
actually a quote.
So we could actually take that off of there, add it to this. and
that
just-
would be great if we could get permission from. Yeah, this is your
We're not
quote.
gonna
You
get
go back
permission
to the
from ABC.
25, which is like probably the most competition, because there's a lot of guys all around the country.
Yeah.
And I met Ashley that first day, because he gets on the plane and you see everybody.
Was
getting
he in
on
his
the flight.
underwear?
Not yet. That was pre that Ashley. We're all going to Orlando, and you see, pretty boys walking in, you're looking at him, you're like, yeah, he's probably going. All right, so he might be competition. And everybody's like sizing each other up when you get on the bus, or you get in, they couldn't let us meet each other until the certain day. And through that part, I know there was sizing each other up more. There was like, man, he's competition for me. That guy's competition. All right, if he makes it and I make it with that, okay, that's a good band. I like this band. But if you watch how the first 25 got picked, I'll be dead honest. When they started calling names, I was sitting there like, interesting. Not who I would have picked.
The 8, you mean?
Yeah, the 8 from the 25, right? I was like,
The crazy thing is,
I don't know if that's the band that I would be in. Suddenly it's like not the band I thought it was going to be at all. What's happening in front of me?
you go from 8 to 5. You cut that all down. This is your group. This is what you have.
25 to 8, 8 to 5.
8 to 5. So you have your group, and you had one guy you had to kick out.
And then Ikaika, the
One
guy
guy
Ikaika's gone.
The guy that was having all
And
the
then-
issues that we said is going to have issues ended up having issues and quitting the band.
Because you knew it from the jump. This was
We knew that he wasn't going to last.
And now you get Dan.
And then we got
Well,
Look at handsome Dan.
Dan was a tough sell.
Okay, all right. I want to hear this one.
Dan is a tough sell, by the way. Dan is a very tough sell.
You can tell that you
lot
guys
of
all
ways.
been on tour together for a while. it's all this shit talking.
No, back to the 25 is where he's going. Like when we're all sizing each other up, we never really talked about it, but all of us thought Dan was one that was like, oh, he's going to be in the band. Like that's solid competition. And when he didn't make the 8, we were shocked about it. So
Individually, we were all
circle.
shocked without even really talking about it.
Right.
But again, we also really didn't understand the concept of reality television because reality television hadn't really existed other than Real World. So the idea of like putting guys together, competing for a spot in a band, being compelling reality TV, characters. He had all the talent, unscripted. Yeah. He had all the talent. He just didn't have the reality show thing that they were looking for.
Dan, how did that work for you? How did that work for you? Because I can imagine here, there's 8 now, right? There's 8, and you're not in the top 8. Like, you had to be like, and these guys saying it right here, loving you, and it's different hindsight now that you guys have been so close and always like you couldn't imagine your life without Dan and the band without Dan. But how was that moment of I'm out, but I bonded with these guys?
Oh, he didn't bond with us.
I didn't bond
to anybody.
We didn't bond.
You were
with
that.
No, we
3 days.
It's just not really my style. I honestly, we talked about this in a previous thing. We were saying that you go have these places and times in your life where you kind of have these confidence jumps, and leaving that audition, even though I didn't make it, I'm not a confident person, but I felt like I was
Better.
I felt like I was one of the best ones there.
And he's right.
And I felt like I should have been. So I left, and I was like, well, the only reason I didn't make the band is because I'm going solo. Like I really felt like something was bigger, which also would have been a horrible idea. I'd be a horrible solo.
Was it? You said it was a tough sell, Eric. Was it a tough sell because you had to convince the powers that be, like Lou Pearlman and all those other guys? Yeah. That was it. What? Because you wouldn't hang out with them?
Well, at that point, we hadn't made too many decisions as a band. We weren't really empowered to make decisions as a band.
Are you finally empowered? Like,
obviously
you guys
100%.
can finally even still have Lou hanging over you?
Yeah.
But so Lou Pearlman, you can do that again.
So the idea was, okay, we all figured out that we all like this guy from the 25, and Lou was steadfast on like picking out of his like little headshot book.
Blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
He had his little stable.
He wanted his
He had a stable of guys that he was auditioning.
And so when we realized we were actually in a movie theater, and when we realized that like independently of each other without even speaking to each other, we all agreed on one guy, which at that point, I don't know if we agreed on anything because we were so new and so different. We immediately rushed from the movie theater. We didn't even see the movie. We actually went right to Lou's house, called Lou, said we're on our way. We decided who we want. We want Dan. And he sort of gave us a little pushback because he had his like stable of guys he wanted to be in it, and we were pretty confident that we knew what we wanted.
Did you guys feel, because again, one thing that we have very similar in common is the fact that I put a band together, but I still had to the
band was called
appease Lou.
Nsync?
No, I had to appease him. And everybody that I brought in, I would be like, this guy's a great vocalist. He's absolutely amazing. We click well together. He's the perfect part. And Lou would go, oh, no, there's something wrong with him. Mm-hmm. And there's something a little different about him that won't sell or won't. And I'm like, sell? This is a band.
Right.
Like, how hard was it, Trevor? How hard was it to understand that, you know what? It's about talent. It's about what we love, not about what you want as your perfect picture.
Right. Yeah. And we, like he was saying, we took that to heart. We said, this is our decision. This is what we want as them. Like, it was good because it was the four of us and us as a united front, and we had television behind us. We had a lot of, how would that look on television if we came to him with this huge news and then he's like, no, I have this up. Like, that wasn't a good look for him.
They just edit that part out.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly.
We kind of understood, though. I think innately we kind of understood what Lou was looking for at that time. We had already been boy band camping for quite some time before Dan came. We knew where Erik-Michael fit. We knew that we had already had our positions, and we knew Dan wouldn't necessarily infringe on any one of our sort of I guess what you could say, like roles in the group, right? There was he just fit the mold, right? He was a brown-haired guy who can sing a lead and who can dance. So that made it really simple for us. And then when we all agreed on it, that was just like it was a no-brainer. And I say it's like the first. Dan is the first decision that we made as a band. truly made as a group, and it was the best first choice that we made as a group.
Is Dan still the new guy?
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever, you
That's
always
crazy to think. Okay, now
You'll
you
be the
have,
new guy.
Now you got the boys. You've got Eric. You've got Trevor. You got Jacob. You've got Dan. And you got Ashley. You guys are now you're now O-Town, and Clive comes calling, and you guys get signed to J Records, and you guys are now going to drop Liquid Dreams. You're going to become like MTV Sweetheart. You're the new boys.
Yeah.
Where the hell were you? What were you thinking? Because you guys are now leaving that house, and you're about to become superstars.
I don't think people understood. Okay, the power of editing, right? Like there was a long time from the time that we wrapped, making the band cameras.
How much time were we talking?
I was like, you guys
5
rap?
months, 4 to
Yeah,
5
like
months.
6 months.
4 to, like 4 to,
So you had no idea what was going to
6
happen.
months, yeah.
we were getting turned down
Yeah,
from
we got-
every label.
Well, original script.
Drive didn't want us. RCA didn't want us.
Sony,
Well, RCA and
didn't
Jive
want
had
us.
bands.
So how-
Right, they had you guys.
So it
right.
was tough
they
for you
wanted
guys
take
to
us
find
another
your
one.
place.
Right. That's
So
why
with
we were
Clive,
so lucky
how
with
did
Clive.
how did it happen?
L.A. Reid.
Well, there was a couple of
Yeah,
reasons.
LA Reid, too.
L.A. Reid, he like gave us some. They were kind of fighting. It was one of those things, but really, he had Westlife.
LaFace.
Clive Davis through Simon Cowell worked together, had Westlife, which was a success. So at our audition,
Westlife was a success in Europe, though.
right?
Yeah.
but
Westlife
Never
wasn't a success in the
They had
United
one
States.
song that
They were
was
going to
like
bring them
mid-try
here,
to.
and that's why they didn't.
Clive's starting this label, and he wants a boy band to compete with the other big ones that are out there.
Yeah.
And he flies Simon Cowell out for our audition at his house, just because he was like, "Well, you know how to pick talent. You've put this band together. They're successful. Like, help pick these guys." So
This is pre-American Idol, pre-Pop Idol.
he was very infatuated with our cameras. He kept going, "What? So what are the cameras for? What are they? Why are they in the meeting?" And we're like, "Well, we're shooting a reality show." So this was the first time Simon was exposed to the reality show thing, and shortly after he did Pop Idol UK or something before it was America, something like that.
So you guys introduced Simon Cowell to
The
I think
the world of
concept,
reality
competition,
music.
the concept.
He's like, oh, I love this. This is fantastic.
He was very interested in it, and I guess he gave Clive the blessing because shortly after we got an offer, and who can turn Clive down? Like we were trying to
But we
legitimize
actually
ourselves.
don't forget Mike Cronin, Rich
Rich
was
Cronin,
Rich
yeah.
was
Mike's
signed,
brother.
Mike's brother. Yeah.
LFO was signed to Clive, so that was kind of like
He gave the
that was the
introduction.
gap. Cronin gave us the
Our
the
connection
gap,
to Clive was through Rich and his brother Mike. Mike was managing us, and when we auditioned for L.A. Reid was signed us on the at the moment that he saw us, and at that point Clive and L.A. were having a feud because Clive had just been
left Arista.
ousted out of Arista because of some sort of age clause. BMG gave him this money to start this label, and once he found out that L.A. Reid wanted to sign us, there was sort of like an ego war that happened, and Clive was like, I want them. So timing has always been a thing for us, and I think that's the thing for most people in the
And by the way,
business.
speaking of timing, don't you have an amazing quote talking about your timing as a band with Indiana Jones?
this guy, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
your,
that's it.
your quote
I give
about
him all the-
Indiana
I give
Jones.
him the credit for that.
Yeah. So we were. So I call us the Hat, right? We're the Hat. Sort of the boy band wall was closing. You guys had so much success. Obviously, Backstreet 2, 98 Degrees, and the world was sort of over. Or at least the United States was over boy bands, and we're sort of like that group that indie is you guys, and you guys go into the wall, and then we're the hat that indie grabs and like pulls right underneath the wall. So we're fortunate just to be able to like have had any success, let alone the amount of success that we had, because we felt like that wall was closing and closing.
That's a great analogy.
Lucky to have the TV show.
Okay, so Jacob, you guys are a band, right? You guys figure out we got Dan now. We're 5 of us. We auditioned for this band as singers. Like, you guys did not audition as a band. You auditioned competing against each other, competing against other people as singers. How do you become a band? How do you step away from, Erik Estrada as the soloist singing right now, Jacob Underwood as a soloist singing? How do we go, shit, we don't have a bass, or we don't have this?
Yeah.
How do you guys match and make this work?
I mean, it's been 2 decades or more to get to this point where we just love each other's roles and support and really like respect each other's roles. But of course, in the beginning, we're all solo artists coming together in a band, which we knew our competition was you guys, so we needed to join together. But of course, their egos come in where you're like, man, I've been wanting this my whole life. And I mean, there was a song that we talk about, Girl was one of our favorites. And we all wanted to be on this song because we just loved this song, right? Didn't know if it's a single or not, just loved the song. And I got on it, and the producer was loving my voice, and I was so stoked about this. And then he took me off of it because Clive said I didn't sound R&B-ish enough and went against the producer. And I was so bent out of shape. And he was like, well, Eric and Dan, this is their kind of song. And I remember having a meeting with him, like, if you don't want me to sing these songs that the producer likes, like, give me a solo deal or just kick me out so I'm free to do something else because I don't like.
Because you were rebellious back then.
We're all just trying to vie for our place in the band.
Totally
right?
was, yeah.
We didn't have the, hey, you guys are you're the lead.
And y'all didn't know each other. It's almost like you're competing against each other once you're in the group, right?
And nobody was willing to say, well, I'll be the background singer.
Yeah.
Like everybody here
was no role.
wanted to sing every piece we could. And I think that took time to fall into line to even respect, wow, okay, you know what? As much as I wanted to sing that part, I'm listening to Dan or Eric back in that high. And, you know, they sound better.
Honestly,
Ashley, didn't you sing? You stayed on it, though.
I stayed on it. Yeah, I stayed on it.
Honestly, though, would you guys look at it as the band as a stepping stone? Was there a point where you were like, you know what? I'm in this band, so when people hear me, then I'm going to get my project out there, or this is just a step so I can go, I need to sing more leads because, you know, I'm going to do the Trevor freaking album, the Dan album, or was it always?
It was never, for me, it was never like that because I realized once you get into the band, what you see on TV from other people and what they do, it's completely different when you're in it and you see all the responsibilities.
As a team sport.
Yeah, it's like being able to rely on other people to have even just some of the focus taken off of you and some of the pressure is crucial. And so like when you're in that, you realize like being a solo artist would kind of suck. Like you don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anybody else to lean on. You don't have anybody else to like, do an interview or talk and answer every question in an interview. Like you really kind of come to like respect and look forward to having somebody else there to kind of lean on because there was times where we were just like,
do you remember your first time when you guys finally now Liquid Dreams is out, it's popping, and it's in rotation on MTV where you guys are on the countdown. Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember the first time going on to TRL? I remember seeing you guys for the very first time going on TRL. I remember you and I looked at each other and I was like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
You remember that?
I remember we went there and weren't on it.
Yeah.
We went there and just got to show up and meet Carson, and we got to look over when the show was like not quite out yet, and then we got to actually like be on the.
We're talking about Carson Daly.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Then we got to be on the show, so that was a crazy.
We did
time.
the hosting. We had our moms.
Yeah,
on
we
the
hosted
show
like 2 times.
Yeah.
What was your moment of? Would it have been TRL? What was your moment of? Back in the day, it was, the first time you hear your song on the radio, or the first time, because again, the difference is with us, TRL wasn't TRL. TRL was a show.
It was called MTV Live.
An MTV show that it's like, oh yeah, you guys are going to go do MTV. Mm-hmm. It's not you're going to go do TRLs. It's not what it was. The Disney special, when we got offered the Disney special, it was just some Disney special, right? Mm-hmm. We're like, okay. Then it became, BB Mac was talking about it. Then it became, and then we got to do the Disney special, and you're like, what was
the crazy thing?
What was that moment
hold on
for
one
you
second.
guys?
Chris, the crazy thing is, Nsync was the reason why MTV Live changed its name to Total Request Live and have an audience. That was the reason, because when y'all came on to perform, they decided to have some kids come up, and that that was never supposed to happen, and it was such a huge hit.
Wow!
All of a sudden,
we are fucking awesome.
The ratings came up, and that was the whole reason why TRL and Carson Daly came in. Yeah. Because when MTV Live started, it was like 3 different hosts. It was, I can't even remember their names, but I was a DJ on K-Rock in New York at that time. But
Nsync was
K-Rock? Yeah, K-Rock's famous, man. Howard Stern. There you go. But that was the reason for that. But there was that coming to Jesus moment for you guys when you were like, holy shit, this is now happening.
And that's my point. Like, where was it? Was it TRL? Was it hearing it on the radio? Was it some kid coming up to you going, you guys are that band? And you're like, no. Because how many times did you get our names thrown down your throat, Backstreet's name thrown down your throat, where it was like, and I can tell you straight up who hated us, and who had to put up with that so much that at some point you stop and you're like, I'm sick and tired. We know we're ourselves, and it bonds you guys together. But what moment did you guys go, you know what, now it's us?
Yeah, I think that because of where we come from and what we were from, there was a lot of those moments. There was a first week we were on TV, and then like we're in a restaurant, people are you know what I mean? We didn't have the normal like, oh, our song's out and now we're big. We were already like kind of big. Then it was like, oh, this is happening. Oh, now it's TRL. Like, I mean, I remember when we went to the window that first time, that was like, oh my God, we are here. We're on TRL.
Craziest feeling in the world.
Screaming. And, but I think one of like our best like moments for us, like as a band, was after we did, a terrible performance on something that we won't talk about. We then got to do Good Morning America with our live band. We did like 3 songs on Good Morning America that morning to like kind of redeem ourselves from this other terrible performance.
What was the other terrible performance that we will totally talk about right now?
Yeah, it was.
Come on.
God, what was it? I forget.
tell you this.
Miss America.
Miss America,
How was
yeah.
Miss America?
I'm going to tell you another story.
Please tell us about Miss
Not
America.
Miss USA, but Miss America.
Did you lip sync on Miss America?
No.
Oh, no.
Then
that was
just
the problem.
bad singing?
Yeah, so we
monitors.
we actually Clive didn't want us to do it,
Which is live.
He was like, you guys aren't ready to do it, and we were like, we have this opportunity, we're doing it. It's on ABC, we're doing it, and we're gonna sing live. They want us to lip sync. We were like, no, we're not lip syncing. We're singing it live. We prepped. We worked with Doc Holliday, our vocal coach at the time, and we were so pumped, we were so ready, and. The in-ears, we weren't really used to like performing with in-ears at the time. We hadn't toured yet, so we didn't have like our tour legs under us.
In-ears just weren't working.
In-ears,
Their in-ears aren't working, so you think, oh, I'll pull my in-ears out, but now you're getting a slap back from an arena, so it's like 3 seconds delay, and you're trying to sing harmony with a 3-second delay.
and then you have a guy who's mixing the board, who's never heard us. And you have guys who are up higher than other guys. And so
How did sound check
the
go?
TV mix was.
Was there a sound check?
Is there any way we can watch this?
But it was like.
Wait. Is there any way, Pat's our producer. Is there, no, I mean, like, just
No,
like.
not right now.
I mean, like, later on we can put it in.
I really wish we didn't.
Oh my God, that would be great.
Oh,
Thanks a lot, Trev.
listen.
I think it's I don't okay. These guys are like, I wish we never said it. I'm okay with saying it because it was a pivotal moment where we needed to get sort of knocked down a bit from when a place where we felt like we were famous at the time. We were TV stars, and so like we sort of needed a bit of like a peg knock for at
It's
the
a
time.
moment in your careers, and it's a moment that no matter how bad it was, no matter how good it is, it's a moment. What are you going to remember? I say this all the time. How many shows have we all done together with these? How many shows do you remember that were absolutely perfect, that everything went right, everything was perfect? How many Atlantic cities do you remember?
Yeah.
You
Definitely
remember Atlantic City.
City, guys.
Does it mean that it was a great show? No, but it's a memory. And it's something that made you guys know who you are and understand that, you know what? Every show's not going to be perfect. We have to be perfect. If it's our fault, that's different. But it's not your fault. It's something that happened at the place. It was the sound. It was whatever. So those moments stick with you, and those moments make you, because
necessary.
You can't be great unless you have mistakes, and you've done things that you know how to do better.
One of the most successful nights we ever had in merch to this date. Top 3, like
Besides for when I was on with you
except
guys.
for the shows you're on, yes, of course, was Chicago, and the sound went off. I mean, it was song 3 or something, and they couldn't get the PA working. All the lights, everything was down, and we struggled with it for about 10 minutes. These guys ran out of jokes.
The Rosemont 2016.
Rosemont Theater, my 2K.
Yeah, and they ran out of jokes. Like we were up there just starting to slowly die.
Dan ran out of
There were
jokes.
some great.
No, he's wait. Give him the
He
mic.
was working hard.
We can tell me one of those jokes. Let me hear one of those
I
jokes.
mean, I don't remember what the jokes
Well,
were.
Ryan Cabrera is walking backstage because he just finished, and I see him with his acoustic. We're like, whoa! And we ran by and grabbed his acoustic guitar, went out there and sang 1 or 2 songs with just us around the mics that were working, and that was by far one of the best reactions I ever got.
People
from the
thought it was
audience.
part of the show, actually.
They did.
They thought it was shtick.
How did that change you guys as a band? Like how
couldn't have done
are
that back in
these
the day.
awful shows and things that happen? Because I'll tell you, getting a text message from Trevor and getting a text message from you saying, talking about the Atlantic City show again, hey, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for everything went down. You know who your brothers are. When these things happen to you guys, how does that form you guys as a band to go, you know what? Now they've got my back even more because we're all going through this shit. It's not our fault. We're all going through this shit. How does that make you guys go, you know what? I like this guy. I fucking hated Dan today.
If you only knew.
Oh, man. But what I'm saying is that there's these moments then that happen, and obviously, like,
They flip it.
Yeah, we sort of find those things that about the night that we can, like, look on in light. Oh, you know, it was too good. Oh, man, that was too good. You know, Jacob's flipping out, and we're totally upset, and a part of it is us wanting to give the fans the best experience possible because a lot of our fans fly in from everywhere to come see us. So it's just like we let everyone down. Those things always galvanize us, just like Miss America. They galvanize us. There's solidarity now with us. There's no breaking that solidarity.
Can I tell you something crazy?
Yeah.
Can I tell you I've learned that from you guys? Like, not that I've, said, oh, these guys do it.
Chris?
I've learned that. Like, I've now taken that into my life because I never had that before. You ask the guys in my band, something little would go wrong. I've broken my hand 3 times, punching things, whatever. This sound was losing my temper, losing everything about it. Watching you guys be wax and let it roll right off of you, I actually did. I've learned a lot from you guys and learned a lot from this tour going, you know what? Let's go out. That's the reason at that show I was like, hey,
You're out there with us.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm out there with you guys. It is what it is. As long as people realize it wasn't because Dan was way off key. Right. It wasn't because, Trevor freaking tripped over his own feet. It wasn't because, you couldn't sing a lick. It was because of something else that happened out of your control. You're still the band you are. You're still the brothers you are. You still get along. But like I said, those moments, I've had those moments with my guys, and as dumb shit as they do, you still look at them as like, this is my foxhole. These guys are my foxhole. And those moments make you.
The absence from doing this for 10 years kind of gives you the perspective to have that. Like,
I think it comes with age, too.
I'm the least chill person here. But at the same time, I let a lot more stuff slide than I ever did just because you kind of have to. Like you realize that at the end of the day, even though maybe it wasn't perfect, like it's better than not doing it at all. Which we took 10 years
I would
off.
not have ranked you as the most not chill person here, by the way.
When did
Really?
you guys?
No, Jacob is definitely the most not chill.
No, 'cause you've seen Jacob in like the most extreme. Like Jacob gets really extreme and rages at moments where like I can see why he does. Dan, on the other hand, it doesn't take much for him to get to a place where he's like frustrated and like, oh, I gotta get out of here, So, I had to defend Jacob.
These guys have had my back for some really dumb moments in the last few years, and they, where we could have gone and done the show, or we could have rolled over and just done it, but they've had my back in certain situations when somebody's disrespected somebody in the band. Like, I feel like now it's been almost 10 years since we've been back together, and I feel like we've grown. I mean, way more than we can ever put into words. It doesn't even compare to the origination of O-Town, because we're adults. We have the perspective of the past. We know the blessing and how grateful we are to be here, to see these fans day after day keep coming back to give us another year of touring. Oh my God, they want another song. They're going to donate money to hear another single. I mean, the support that we feel from them is next level, and we do know most of them by name. Like, there's a relationship there. So this whole
And they come back like show after show.
every night, yeah, you see the same.
I think it's
great.
one of my favorite things I've ever seen. I've seen probably 4 of the shows in the last 2 years. The ending.
Yeah, just never
When you
stop.
it's not just O-Town on stage, but you're bringing everyone that's a part of O-Town and a part of the
finale.
Pop 2000 tour. It's one of the coolest
Whose
things.
genius idea was that?
And
though?
I got to be honest with you. You're welcome. I came up with that. Right?
Thanks,
It's
Brian.
groundbreaking.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It is groundbreaking.
But it was cool because we were in Cleveland last night, and Chris was like, "You're coming out?" And I'm like, "What?" And I thought he was joking. I was like, "You know what? Fuck it, I'm going out." And I walked out on stage, and he just kind of was like, "Yeah, come on." And I just get that perspective of what you guys see. It gave me chills. I was like, "Holy cow, this is insane!" You guys are out there, but it was one of the coolest moments ever because you're standing to the side of the stage. It's all quiet, and then Chris brings me out. And I'm watching all of you guys out there on stage as a family. It was one of the coolest one of the coolest moments, and I've seen a lot over the last 20 some years that I've seen like ever on tour. That's pretty cool.
I can say this earnestly. Year 5 of us being on hiatus, of having broken up, I'm pretty sure I can speak for every one of us. We didn't think we were going to get back together. We didn't think we could be doing this at age whatever we are now. Come on.
32.
Still older than you guys.
The idea that we're actually
older.
doing this at this point in time, now having been together probably close to 4 times the amount of time that we were the original O-Town iteration of O-Town, we never thought that would be a thing. Let alone build up a new tour, build up this this fan base. That I mean, you were there. You were there. It's just electric. And this guy, when we were going back to the RV, one of the security guards, he's like, "Is this like this everywhere you go?" And I'm like, "No, it's not like this wherever you go."
That part's crazy because I was telling Jacob earlier today. It's like when I look out into the crowd, I don't see women of a certain age, guys of a certain age. Like I see 16, 17-year-old kids out there looking up, and they're not. These are women that have and they're bringing their kids in.
And how has that changed for you guys? Like touring and doing what you did 20 years ago, doing it again where it's a completely different world. You see the camera phones, you see the videos. It's not the old, type things. It's the entire show. People are looking through their phones and watching you, and it's a whole new world. Social media. Trevor, what do you think?
Sure. I think it's a blessing that all that exists. We're able to put ourselves out there, show people what they're missing. Like there's a lot of spoilers. People, you're trying to save something for the tour, and everyone knows it after the first night. But I love it. I think that it allows us to, like we are saying, we know the fans by the first name basis. Not only that's not just because they come to the shows, but we actually speak to them on Instagram when they hit you up. That whole world has changed everything, and I love being able to watch film.
How would things have been different for O-Town if they would have social media and all that stuff back then? Would it better? Worse?
We would be better at it.
Yeah,
I think we're probably the worst band.
We'd be better at it.
How crazy? Okay, that's the thing. I have to call my son. He's 22 now. I have to call him for
to check
social
your
media.
VCR's clock.
Right? What a dick. but it's so true though, because I'm terrible at social media. I get nervous when I post something because I'm like, I don't want to. Like I feel like I'm bragging or I'm doing something, but I'm like, I guess it's a part of a brand. I still can't understand that. I just wish I had a Generation Z with me all the time to kind of guide me through it.
We got lucky. We had professional cameras, directors, lighting crews, sound crew following us for the whole beginning so that we didn't really have to think about it. We just lived our lives. And it was special during those times to see this all documented, like to show our kids and stuff. But I think if you look at my life, I mean, I know you look at my life post O-Town,
haircuts,
like 4 or 5 years of like 0 pictures, because I was not used to. I didn't carry a camera around and take pictures of the moments I was in. There was already people doing that for us. So we have troves of pictures we never took.
That's crazy.
Of every moment of our life, and then suddenly it stops. And
that is suddenly a realization that I just figured out is how not easier, but how different it was for you guys, because you guys started with cameras in your face all the time.
Right.
You guys started with, okay, hold on, I'm going to poop. I'm going to have to take my mic off.
Nope.
Things like that. And
they would follow us in there.
You kept the mic off when you pooped?
No, kept it on.
No, it was on.
You did?
Did you guys make noises when you were in there? Like,
Is there any grunt?
We
Did
used
you
to
guys ever
mess with
use in a
them. We used to
record?
mess with the directors all the time. We used to always do stuff like that. We used to be like, hey. Well, that's then they would
we'd pretend fight, because as soon as we do, they took a break. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna take 5 in the kitchen." Like, yeah, and they'd sit down and like take the camera off there for a second, and we're like, "No, bro, I told you." And you're like, "Oh, yeah." They come running in and they set up, and we're like, "No, gotcha."
I hosted a dating reality show with Simon Cowell. I won't say the name because I don't want to. But I remember the girl. It was kind of like The Bachelor meets American Idol. So basically, she was scouring the country looking for her one dude. The show was called.
That could sing?
What's that?
That could sing? Where's the American Idol part?
Well, she had a dance. Her
I
best friends. So it was a reality show where they're at home,
like Flavor of Love.
They went into a live studio with like 400 or 500 people, and she had a dais of 3 of her best friends. as judges, like to see who's going to come in, and then the other judge was the audience, and America at Home, kind of like American Idol, right? So in her contract, it stated once she went to the bathroom that the cameras couldn't follow her in there. She couldn't do any of that.
Yeah.
So the audio guys would just like be right by the bathroom. It's kind of fucked up when you think about it, because she would go on these dates.
Pre-Me Too, right?
She would go on these dates, and she would end the dates by going to the bathroom.
How many moments did you guys have of annoying cameras?
I mean, with the dates.
That point. That point where you're like, you know what? I'm done with the cameras.
You know what? We never had any like real blow ups where like, get those cameras out of my face. We never really had that. They were just there all the time. Like once you're in it for like 10 days,
Yeah.
You don't remember it.
It just looks like this. It just that's your world that you live in.
Yeah, you were talking about the cameras being there at Clive. I totally forgot.
Right, I didn't realize the cameras were there.
I was on Big Brother.
Yes,
and I do not agree with you guys at all. I knew the cameras were there all the time.
Well, Big Brother was a short stint of time, right? You weren't living regular, normal life.
RoboCam.
You were in a thing doing like a certain competition.
And you knew it was a competition that you were with other people.
Very brief period of time, right?
I guess compared to
How long were y'all in?
4 weeks.
Wow.
You said it was 6 months prior to.
Dan just went
We
right
shot the first season.
now. Man.
I'm the second one out.
December
hang on.
all the way till like March, April, May, because of the contract situation with Lou, got postponed the production for so long.
Wait, you guys had a contract situation with Lou? Please tell.
So Lou, we're talking about Lou Pearlman, right? The contract situation.
Yeah.
What was the issue that you had that Nsync didn't have?
Well, our contract was very different because we had ABC, MTV,
joint
like
venture.
Viacom. We had our merchandise company, our publishing company. Everything was all in one contract, and everybody was fighting over their little piece. So it wasn't just Lou with all this control. He had to fight for pieces with ABC and MTV and Peter and Murray. So everybody's fighting.
But what was the same was Lou, at the end of the day, still was splitting with you guys.
No. So
we
he wasn't able to do that because that's illegal, and we had the other people watching, right? So he knew he could only go so far with ABC's lawyers watching. He did take the money that was supposed to be paid to us because he's the furnishing company, and he'd just say, well, sue me for it.
Right, we just never got paid.
So he'd just hold the money and then hold over the fact that he owned our name. He'd say, oh, I'm going to fund your whole tour. Oh, psych, never mind. Oh, you're too late to get sponsorships. You're going to have to sign this if you want me to pay for your tour. Always trying to hold it over your head. So we had a lot of crap we dealt with, but it wasn't the same contract. We worked with Jay Cooper. Really awesome, huge time lawyer at the time. And he's like, hey guys, with all these big names, this is the best the contract's going to get. If it's successful, you can renegotiate. If not, I mean, this is it. So at that point, we took it.
At any given moment, were you thinking about reaching out to the guys from Nsync and talking to them about what their situation was?
Yeah, they didn't.
But you weren't even a conversation.
Hold on a second.
Okay, this is
Hold
good. I
on
want to
a
hear this.
second. This is not true.
Those guys were assholes.
You know that is not true. You know that. Trevor's been to my house. Eric been to my house. Dan, were you at my house?
Nope.
Ashley might have been to my house. You didn't like us.
I don't party with assholes.
There you go.
Wait, so there was no question whatsoever that you. What about Backstreet Boys or any of those guys?
Did you guys learn? Did you have a feeling though when you were like,
Dude, we were at NYPD Pizza.
Oh yeah,
watching
the court case.
watching you walk out of.
What'd you think of my brown suit? I hated brown suits.
It was really good. It looked frugal.
Great.
Yeah,
choice.
we like
very
watched
frugal.
that with him, like the whole Entertainment Tonight piece.
You were
on
with
him.
Lou?
We watched.
We were watching. We were watching
it with him,
together.
yeah.
Wait, you watched
a whole piece on the.
And I will tell you the craziest thing about Lou, and maybe cannonball off this if you want to, but craziest thing about Lou was the one that likes to pit people against each other. Because what he would do, and the reason that I know, and the reason that I had come to Trevor before going, listen, dude, I know you probably can't stand us, but I want you to know it was the same with us and Backstreet. It was the same thing. It's not us. It's what Lou is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many times did Lou, or did you come to find out?
Well, also Lou was falling out of grace with Backstreet, and then he's trying to help you guys come up, and then at the same
Even
time,
when he was in grace with Backstreet, though, he would do it because he wanted you guys not to like us.
He wanted the rivalry
because he wanted you guys better than us.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted you guys to be angry.
which there's a diabolical brilliance there, right? Like to sort of create that sort of rivalry and competition, and we felt it. For us, I always say like you guys were like our big brothers, like we were like the the last child to come out of, the parents are empty nesting at this point, and
Which is ironic that we were the redheaded stepchild. So you guys we were big brothers,
Yeah.
and we were also the redheaded stepchild. So you were big brothers to a stepchild.
And then we came along. We're like, well, we're never going to live up to the standard of those guys. Like, so we just got to create our own. And then at that point, we knew that we were taking it on the chin with the contract. We knew it. Like, it was never a secret for us, but we had no leverage. Like, we were no one.
And it's the business.
Right.
It's the business. When you come out, you can't be, in sports terms, you can't come out with a rookie contract and expect to be paid what the top guy is being paid. You're a rookie.
Of course.
Right? Everybody knows that. We all knew that going in. You're going to sell yourself to a point.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a limit. There's also that. So past aside, everything, that we all have in common with Lou, what's up now? Like now,
Can I ask one question?
Okay,
This is it. This is all.
Is this a TRL question?
No, this is not a TRL question. I just want to say it. When did you guys know you were getting fucked by Lou?
Oh,
When you saw the rubber on the floor.
We knew it before we got. We knew it before we got into the contract.
One of my favorite stories that I don't think was on the show was at a House of Blues in Orlando.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And this is one of the similar story I just kind of hinted to, where he'd say, I'm gonna pay for the tour. That's what his job was, and no, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to. I'm just going to decide.
Because we're not signing.
Yeah, because we're not signing whatever deal he wanted, the contract he wanted. I just decided not to pay you guys. So that's when we started getting smart. We're like, well, we have a TV show that follows us. If we go into a room and we have a meeting, who are they going to watch? And that's good TV. Lou doesn't edit this show. So we kind of got it together. We're like, look, let's put him on the spot tonight. He's coming to the show. He wasn't like coming around, but he knew.
And he doesn't have carte blanche. He doesn't have the say of what goes in.
And we're like, we sit him down in a room like this. We sit him down like, all right, Lou, so what's up with the money for the tour? You're not paying or you are paying? And he's like, oh. And he's looking at the directors and they're just filming. I mean, that's their job. It's just keep filming. So we put it on.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, and it ended up being where we got the money. We agreed to do the movie Long Shot. That's all he got out of the deal. He wanted us to do all these other things, and he's like, "Okay, all right. If you guys agree to do this
6
movie
degrees of Kevin Bacon,
then I'll give you the
What was
money."
Long Shot?
It was
The greatest
awesome
movie of all
movie.
time.
Who is the star of Long Shot?
The Rock.
Rock's
The
first
biggest
movie.
movie star in the world is
I'm
The
in a
Rock.
movie with The Rock.
That's right.
Did he go by The Rock or did he go by Dwayne?
He was still
The Rock. Yeah, ring the bell. Ring the bell.
That's awesome.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
The movie was very name droppy in itself. I mean, if
he was
you
in
go
it.
through, it was like O-Town, Britney Spears,
Art Garfunkel.
Art Garfunkel,
Nsync.
Jermaine Jackson, Justin Timberlake,
Or
Chris
you
Kirkpatrick.
could say Nsync though too.
Was Topanga in it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, maybe
Antonio
Official.
Sabato Jr.
Antonio
Antonio
Sabato
Sabato
Jr.
Jr. When he was on a soap
Tony D.
opera.
Camillus. Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, it was just a name drop movie. It was terrible, but
It's called Long Shot.
actually- yes, and it's
Was it weird doing
so bad
Dead
that it's
Seven
we
to think
we
about
gotta
it was
watch it.
our
No, I don't
second
remember
movie
this movie.
together?
yeah, that's
We've
never met.
had zero luck with films.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
We've been doing this, and for a while we were doing it.
You want me to learn your names?
We were doing. You hat guy. We've been doing this for a while, and I know for us, like, we felt so fortunate enough to be able to keep on doing it as long as we have. And we obviously had the first iteration of Pop 2000 with Lance, and it was great. And it's been incredible having you on the tour. What is performing every night? I know it's not your guys from Nsync, but what does performing every night with us feel like for you?
A stepping stone.
A stepping stone towards the big
Practice.
towards stadiums.
No,
It's a job.
No, and I'll be honest too. I'll be honest. It's only been since we decided to do more,
Yeah.
in the show, and realizing how old I am and how tired I get watching you do the show again. Because before, when I would watch you do the show, I was like, yeah, cool. Yeah, used to do that all the time, no big deal. Then getting out there and doing the 5 songs, I'm like, how are you guys alive? Like, I saw you jumping around for 3 songs. Are you sure you're in your 40s? This is ridiculous. No, but I've definitely, grown a lot of admiration for you guys, and as performers and as singers. It's fun, and it's fun to learn. It's fun to, like I said, learn new things from you guys. And I think that's the best thing about our business, and the best thing that we can sit here and say we're musicians, and this is what we do, is we go out, and you know that no matter who you are not the best at what you're doing. Nobody can say who is the best. Prince was not the best. Prince will tell you somebody else was the best at what he did. But in going out and doing these things and learning new things from you guys, and learning that you can have a pocket full of confetti and throw it to the audience and it'll kill every time. No, but seriously, learning little nuances from you guys, and hopefully me, learning something from me. Not that you could, but
no, I love doing the Nsync dances, and I love relearning it a new way every night from you. I love that.
I love reteaching it every night too. I love reteaching.
You get all confused, but I would say being a fly on the wall and being a part of that 20 years ago, and coming here to the Pop2000 Tour and seeing you guys, there's no negativity. We all have our bad days, but for some reason, there's no negativity. That negative, nasty energy when you walking down the hall.
It's
and
called,
don't
it's
talk
called
to that
ego.
person. Yeah. I don't see that on this tour.
Not just that, and sorry to interrupt from this, but not just that with these guys, but the people that they bring out.
Yeah.
Like everybody that you guys have on the tour, you bring out good people. And I can tell you all the places that we go on this tour, everybody says, it's the reason you guys come back to places. Everybody's nice. Brad writes thank you notes to everybody on the tour. You guys are so cordial and so polite. Everyone you meet, hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for what you're doing. That's what makes this tour great. So now, going forward, is this tour going to continue? Do I still have a job? Or is this like
it's the never-ending tour. It's evolved. As you see it's evolved, and it continues to evolve, and these fans that have come
new
back,
record?
Maybe. I mean, we're having an anniversary coming up. We've talked about doing some acoustic re-releases. So we're just active. We're very active. We're stoked to be still doing this, and the fans inspire us to continue to put out more, whatever that is. This tour each year surprises me. More acts that come along, and again, you coming out and wanting to do even more. These fans that have seen it for 2 years are now seeing a whole new version and are so stoked to hear these Nsync songs live. And back to that, it's kind of weird. We had a similar start to our career. 99, you got cast. 99, we got cast. The 2000s. But if my high school self, or any of ours, and I think that's what separates our band forever in my mind, and is if my high school self and us could see where we were sitting now and are doing shows with you and 98 and the guys that my senior year of high school, I was singing their songs in ensemble, right? And then 1 year later, we're on TRL next to them, and you're like, this is weird. I don't know if I belong here. I have a lot to prove. And I think all of us
25 years
always had that in us to just we have a lot to prove. We got here super quick, and these are our competitors, the guys I just sang their songs at high school last year. And now we're all on the stage competing for it's just,
and they're looking at me
surreal,
going,
and it's amazing.
Chris, you have a lot to prove to be up here with us.
Just the snowball, because it was interesting too, because when we ran into each other a couple of years ago at in Omaha at a festival, and I remember being there, and I was just like, oh my god, it's great to see O-Town again. They probably just got back to y'all been touring for a while.
Yeah, since 2015.
But watching
14.
It, the snowball just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's pretty incredible.
It starts with us, right? And we know that.
Yeah.
And it starts with how well we galvanize, how the solidarity between us, and then always coming to every show with that same eagerness to be better, to have a great show, to give the fans, lay it out there, leave it all out there. And then I think that's what ends up becoming that infectious energy that people start to feed off of, and it's kept us going. Now Pop2000 is in its 4th year.
2017.
Oh, yeah, because it's COVID, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so it's 6th year going into it, and we still have Chris coming up to us and saying, hey, I want to do more.
Still more.
No. Well, that
you're
was,
good. We're adding 2 more songs.
No, I was drinking that night. By the way, that was just,
we already worked it. We already worked it out.
Well, and I can tell you, it has been so much fun, and and especially the way you guys do the tour, and we all have families now, and getting to almost be weekend warriors and come out and pretend like, and you guys work a lot harder than I do, obviously, but, to be able to come out and hang with you guys for a little bit and say, oh, you remember who I was, and to get to do this stuff has been awesome. So, and thank you guys for doing this show. We appreciate you guys. You guys are always...
Love you guys.
Can I have a request? I feel like I would really like to hear like a super random
nice thing
name
about
drop story from one of you guys. This is your show. This show is called Name Drop.
We've already done it.
Pat O'Brien?
That's all we do.
I want to
is-
hear like
when I
a
kick Pat
super
O'Brien in the
random name
balls.
drop story.
Did
I
you
feel
know
like
about
that should
that?
be a recurring segment.
When I say Pat O'Brien,
I don't know.
It's not even just a random name drop story. Like the first time he and I met, I had Britney Spears. She was sitting in my lap on my left. That didn't happen.
No. Okay, can I ask a question?
Can I
ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
You've done that.
I know, but it just didn't happen. It just
keeps
what?
repeating it.
We talk a lot about how TRL was
Yep.
like a huge thing for us.
Yep.
What was it for him?
But I know this for a fact that most of you VJs hated the pop world. You guys did not like.
No, that's not true.
I feel like
They
that
hated
was
you guys.
And then
No.
and I think honestly there was like the pop
Yeah.
there was the pop world that they sort of were like, oh, this is not Limp Bizkit, this is Kid
Okay,
Rock,
so-
this
Hold
isn't
on, though,
Eminem.
hold on, though. It's
but then
boy
when
band.
us it was like worse.
Eric,
guys
it's
got
boy
love.
Okay, the
band.
truth be
It's
told-
boy band. How much do you love boy? How much do you
Was he a
love
VJ
being
on MTV?
a boy band?
I think the question was
It's
asked.
the same thing.
No,
I
it's-
love it.
I didn't love.
I
being
was
in
a
that
rock.
room.
I was a rock DJ.
Yeah, I'm
So
asking
I was
about
on
DJ.
K-Rock in New York, and I was a rock DJ. So I was coming from like angry white guys, like coming in like yeah. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, you just got casted on MTV. You're going to be the new MTV News guy, and then you're going to be hosting, or you're going to be doing TRL with Carson Daly as MTV News.
You're white?
I'm a white guy. But it was so I went in. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, oh shit, bubblegum pop. I was like thinking of Hanson. I remember I had long hair and I cut my hair and got frosted tips for MTV and all this.
Sounds
crazy.
terrible.
Oh, and we were the boy band, and we were the weird
Sounds
ones?
terrible for
No,
you,
but
Brian.
it was like no, I loved it. I didn't mind pop music.
I guess
didn't
my
mind.
question was like in these production meetings, were there those moments
there were some angry people.
that were like angry and they're
Yeah.
like, we don't want to do this anymore. When are we going to change the format?
I think I had imposter syndrome. When we talked about this before, I felt like I was like, I can't believe I'm here. And when I saw, I kind of related with you guys a lot too, because you guys were coming in towards the end of the boy band era, and it was like, and you guys were super talented guys that were coming in at the end, and all of a sudden, like you said, the whole analogy of the hat thing. That's kind of how I felt when I was in there. I was just like, when is this going to end? What's going to happen? And so every time I saw you guys, yeah, because it was weird because I was always behind Carson Daly. So it was like, oh, Carson's going to do his NBC show. We're looking for a replacement. We got McFayden. So they were grooming me to be Carson Daly. And all of a sudden it was like, okay, now where's this going to go? What's going to happen? And then Carson and I had a child. His name was Damian Fahey. You know, all of a sudden, but it was like, you know, like what's going to end up happening to me. But I never had an issue with the pop guys, like, I mean, especially the boy bands, because I kind of felt like
You guys just
I was
had a
part of
chip
that
on
whole
your
world.
shoulder.
Yeah.
I
still do.
Well, you have to. You had to have
There
a
was-
chip on your shoulder.
there were
And
some
you know
people
what?
there that
keep
Yeah,
that
there
chip
was,
on your
right?
shoulder.
Yeah. We
'Cause
knew.
that chip on your shoulder is what makes you work harder and makes you come back to these places and do these shows where the kids have seen the show 5 times in the same venue, and you come back and throw them something different and throw them something better.
Them coming back is the biggest compliment you can get, second to somebody who's come and gone, wow, I never saw O-Town before, and I did not expect the show to be like this. That is what we love to hear.
I'll say-
because it always
and
has
we
been
love
our
Ryan
best
Cabrera.
asset. Yeah, Ryan's the best. He sets us
I'll
up.
say this: I have, out of all, like, a lot of people that I've met in this industry, I have a lot of respect for you guys, and I say it like after. I mean, we've all gone through our shit, especially after getting uber famous and all of a sudden having it taken away from you. We eat crow. You got to do whatever you can to, like, you know, make ends meet and to keep it going, and to see that you guys formed again, minus Angel,
Ashley.
whatever his name is. Who? But like
McFayden.
saying this name. I do not remember this name.
He was the one
he was
in the
like
underwear.
he was a guy that was in his underwear, and then he sees it and he's like,
No, that was Marky
screenshots
Mark.
it, and then he sends it to me and he goes, hey, did you see Ashley Angel Smith? The hell's his name?
Doesn't
He hasn't been in
matter.
your band for a long time, but it doesn't really matter. but to see what you guys have done to come together, you guys, I'm really appreciative that you're here.
Props to you,
And
O-Town.
thanks for having us here on
Yeah.
your tour.
We love you guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
love you
Chris.
guys.
Thank you for being part of
Can
this.
you say his name fully?
Chris Kirkpatrick?
Get your ass kicked.
Can you say my name?
Say
Brian-
my name.
Brian
say my
McGregor.
name.
McFaded.
Brian McFaded.
Brian
McFadden.
McGregor.
Brian McFadden.
McFaded.
It's Faden, right?
Brian McFadden.
I thought it was
It's
What's
faded.
with the
It's
Y
McFadden.
then?
Brian
McFadden.
McFarland.
Brian McFadden.
McFadden. Just
Brian
Brian
McFaded.
McFaded.
just hit the button. Hit.
Brian McFading fast.
No.
Brian McFadden.
Last night it was Brian McFadden.
Fade away,
Thanks,
fade
guys.
away,
No, just
fade
hit the button.
away.
Hit the-
Name drop.